Hey, fabulous people. Okay, this Saturday show is going to be a lot different because I'm going out of town for Christmas. So I want to do something real quickly and talk about some things. I just don't have the time to put together the clips and stuff like that. We just don't have that kind of time. So what I'm going to do real quickly is talk about some things that I think might bring some holiday cheer. Because if I see people are still feeling down about the tax scam bill, and I'm just like, I don't get it. Maybe I'm just so naive, but I just don't get it because I feel like this is one of the greatest things that could have happened. We needed them to pass some kind of bill and some kind of policies. And now you're going to start to feel those policies, and that's going to help bring people back to their senses and vote them out of office. So for me, that's probably one of the greatest things that's happened thus far. If they were smart, they would have started with something like infrastructure. If they would have started with infrastructure, it'd be very difficult to criticize, right? Because infrastructure is one of those things that would have had bipartisan support. You would have people on both sides of the aisle supporting that. If they would have started with that, you're going to have a hard time having your first bill that you get passed, having a 26 to 29% approval rating. And then people who were objecting to the bill, unless there were other provisions that were added in there that like did something to Medicare or Medicaid and stuff like that, or entitlements or something, or added something that would add some obnoxious cost or some kind of corruption there. If the bill was just basically do infrastructure to build up the United States, you'd have a hard time getting people not to like it. They didn't start with the bill that would have the most support. No, they started with a bill that would have very little support and ended up signing a bill and passing a bill into law that had very little support. So for me, that was a great thing. I personally think it's a good thing because I think that hurts them at the ballot box. In addition to other things that are going on that I want to talk about today, for example, 63% of the country thinks that Donald Trump obstructed justice. See, I already know he's obstructed justice. I already know it. I've looked at, even from the superficial evidence that I've seen. I feel like if I were prosecuting this case, I would feel comfortable saying it's obstruction of justice and we should move forward on the obstruction of justice charge. I would feel comfortable saying that. In addition to that, let me tell you about the 63% of the people who are basically saying that they think he obstructed. This is what it said. Here's part of an article. It says, NORC found that 63% of Americans believe that Trump has engaged in obstruction of justice. Overwhelming percentages of Democrats and independents support the conclusion, with 86 and 67%, respectively, in agreement. Predictably, only 24% of Republicans agree. They say only 24%, and I'm like, 24% of Republicans agreeing to something that Democrats and independents agree with? That should tell you how bad the situation is for Donald Trump. The impostor is going to go down in burning flames. I'm telling you, when 24% of Republicans, you don't need 100% of Republicans. You need about 15 to 20% of Republicans agreeing with you. You don't need all the Republicans. You're never going to get that many. But when you start seeing 24% of Republicans saying, we think he also obstructed justice, Trump has problems. And then it says further, 40% of the country thinks Trump has done something illegal in concert with Russia. And then 32% of the country think that he's done something unethical but not illegal. So that means 72% of the country thinks he's either done something illegal or unethical. Okay. And only 25% of them believe the things when he said he's done nothing wrong. Only 25% of the country believe him when he said he's done nothing wrong. Those numbers are terrible. Absolutely terrible. You can't survive with those kind of numbers politically. You can't. Eventually, you're going to go down in burning flames. And that's why 2018 is the most important election probably of our lifetimes. The most important one. And you got to get out there and start figuring out who is it in your representative in Congress. Who are they? Who are the people you need to be worrying about within your own state? Worry about your state and other states too that might really need some help pushing on. But worry about your state. Who's running for Congress in your state? Who are your representatives? Is your senator up for re-election? Are your senators up for re-election? Look in your state and figure that out. 2018 is the most important election of your lifetime. 2018, if you can change the landscape of the Congress, you can change the trajectory of this country right now. The thing is, the only way that you're going to be able to deal with the imposter in the White House and to get him removed from office is to have people who have the spinal cord to do it. You need people who will push him out the way that the Republicans pushed out Nixon during the Watergate scandal. You need Republicans like that. You can no longer have Republicans that'll just be there clapping and cheering whatever he says. States to look at, states to be trying to take those seats. Nevada, Arizona, try to take those. Even Tennessee. Take those seats, Democrats. Take them. And take them with people who are willing to stand up to Trump. Do not elect anybody that's not willing to stand up to Trump. Don't do it. Because right now the American people are on your side. And what we know is that Congress is very corrupt. And we need to clean up the Congress on both sides of the aisle. Anybody that's not willing to stand up to Trump should not be reelected if they're running for reelection. 2018, once again, is the most important election of our lifetime. Another thing that happened to Trump that makes his life so untenable for him is that Mueller has his emails. And I know that broke a little while ago, but Mueller has his emails. And the problem with Mueller having his emails is that they don't know what they've already said that Mueller already knew about and that they lied about. So, for example, Mueller had the emails when he was interviewing people part of Trump's campaign and Trump's transition team. They didn't know he had the emails, but he had them. So when he was asking them questions and the investigators were asking him questions, they already knew what the answers were to a lot of those questions because they had the emails. And when Trump found out that they had the emails, you saw a very subdued human being. Now all of a sudden they're going after McCabe. If you know who McCabe is, he was the former temporary director of the FBI after Trump fired Comey, because Trump fired Comey to cover up for the Russia investigation, basically to obstruct the Russia investigation. So basically McCabe was basically the acting FBI director. Now all of a sudden Republicans are going after McCabe. And the reason why they're going after McCabe is because McCabe will be able to tell you that contemporaneously, when Trump told Comey that he wanted him to, let go of the Flynn investigation and etc., Comey had told McCabe of them contemporaneously. So which means he had told him about those things when it happened. And McCabe will be a witness against Donald Trump. So all of a sudden Republicans are trying to ruin this man's life after all these years of service. The problem that they didn't recognize was that now you're going to make McCabe an even more comfortable witness. Right? He's going to be free now. He's no longer part of that swamp over there where he has to say certain things because he has to capitulate in certain ways to Trump, and he has to withhold certain things because he has to capitulate to Trump. If he's no longer required to do that, you just made somebody who's going to be a verbal diarrhea machine. That's what you just created, a verbal diarrhea machine. So the things you think that's all McCabe knows? You think that's all McCabe's going to be able to testify to? See, Republicans don't think those things out. Donald Trump is tweeting things out about McCabe as well, not recognizing you don't have the country on your side. They already think that you have obstructed justice. They already think 72% of the country already thinks you've done something illegal or unethical when it comes to Russia. 72%. So you don't have the people believing you. 24% of your own party think that you obstructed justice. And you guys want to push out McCabe to make it further look like you're obstructing justice. So please do it. I mean, I don't know McCabe well enough. It's terrible that he's losing his job over this, but the truth is this is not going to help Trump. This is just going to help Mueller. So I don't want to help Trump, so let him continue to do what he's doing. And then another thing, too, is Trump's lawyers, and the reason why they're complaining about Mueller getting these emails, etc., is because Trump's lawyers know that this is literally a horrific situation for them because they failed to protect the imposter. They didn't do their job. They didn't do a good job. Mueller was 55,000 steps ahead of them. They weren't even prepared for the way Mueller was about to come at them. They weren't ready to protect their own client. They probably turned over documents, acting like they had turned over everything, and Mueller already had everything. Or Mueller didn't believe that they were going to give him everything, so Mueller basically goes and gets everything and realizes you lied too, as the lawyers, in terms of your own discovery. And that's the reason why the lawyers aren't going to bring it to court. Right? You're going to bring it to court so Mueller can come after you and say, look, you failed to disclose this, you failed to disclose this. You lied in your discovery documents? Your discovery? This is what you lied in? So you're not going to do that. And then you're also not going to go to the courts because you have absolutely no argument. Mueller had every right to get those documents. Period. It's transition team. You weren't the president. You had no executive privilege at that time. You don't get the executive privilege because you became president-elect. Sorry, executive privilege comes when you become president. So there's still a president at the time when you're president-elect. Boop. Okay. So another thing that was actually very, very interesting is that during this whole time while the reason why Trump is constantly at his properties and he's constantly trying to make money from his properties is because he's broke and his properties are broke. There's this basically like magazine, newspaper, online blog type, kind of like a real estate review, kind of whatever. It's called cranesnewyork.com. There was an article in there and it basically says this. Graff was the executive who typically reported Trump Organization revenue figures to Cranes, which relies on companies to self-report for the list. Last year's $9.5 billion in revenue reported by the Trump Organization looks preposterous in light of federal filings made by the president in the past year. Those indicate the Trump Organization generates between $600 million and $700 million in annual revenue. Neither Graff nor Trump Organization spokesperson responded to requests for comment about the discrepancy. Okay, so basically this imposter went out there and tried to say that his business was worth $9.5 billion. But then when they went and reviewed what was actually reported, they said the revenue you brought in was $600 million to $700 million. Now, if you think about having properties all over the globe, how the hell are you only bringing in $700 million or so in revenue? You're not making money. You're broke. Think about it. How much do you think it costs to even maintain those buildings and the taxes on those buildings, etc.? How much do you think it costs them? You think $600 to $700 million is what's going to make this business, the Trump, all that you see all over the place, that's what's really making this business, $600 to $700 million? With paying staff, paying taxes, paying maintenance fees to keep all the stuff, the lights, electricity, all that stuff. You think that's going to be enough money for all the properties? No, he's broke. He's broke. And then he goes and tries to claim that he had $9.5 billion. See, the thing is, when people start to realize that this guy is actually really broke, and that he's a total and complete fraud, people aren't going to be sad anymore. Because you're going to realize that he's going to be exposed and no one's going to really like him. And those people that liked him, that thought he was some big celebrity, rich, super billionaire, are going to realize he's really a broke bastard, lying his ass off imposter. So I'm going to tell you guys right now, there's no point anymore in looking at this guy as somebody who's serious. Okay? Like, he's not the president. He's a joke. He's a broke guy. He's just hustling the presidency. He's going to do that for a little while until Mueller basically takes control over the whole situation, takes the country back. He's going to do that for a little while, but Mueller is going to come and drop a bomb. I don't know what it's going to be, whether it's going to be obstruction of justice or it's going to be conspiracy or whatever, but Mueller's going to drop the bomb. It's just inevitable. It's just a matter of time when it's going to happen. So I'm no longer going to sit here and get down and because, they're going to have us all hyped up about every little minor thing that happens. No, I know what's about to happen. I know that this guy's going to go down in burning flames. I'm comfortable saying that. And I've said it multiple times. He'll either be impeached, he'll resign, or they'll invoke the 25th Amendment. And I still maintain that. First of all, he's not going to be happy. He's not going to be happy living like this, where you're under constant scrutiny. Your arguments aren't winning over. Republican sycophants may go out there on Fox News and scream to the high heavens, but you're not going to convince the majority of Americans. You don't have any real recourse. You can try to push out McCabe, but you just made him a better witness. You pushed out Comey. Comey had got us Mueller. So you had kept Comey. Comey probably wouldn't have come at you the same way that Mueller's coming at you now. Comey wouldn't have had indictments by now. Comey would have been too afraid of losing his job. Mueller's not afraid of losing his job. He's coming for you. And now your daughter and your son-in-law are being sued? Because they're going to have to expose so much more information because they've lied so many times on their federal filings? Everything around this guy is going down. It's just flames everywhere. Burning flames, burning flames. Nothing's going well for him. This tax bill was a disaster. That was not the smart move. The smart move was infrastructure. I don't know who's advising Trump, but if he had done infrastructure, it'd be so hard to criticize him. You would just look like you're being a partisan hack. But no, he goes for tax reform, which was not one of the main things he promised to his base. And his base, a good majority of them, well, I wouldn't say majority, a good portion of them are angry. And he already only had about 10 to 15% of the population left. So he's basically losing that base as well by doing this first. See, they wanted the wall. You're not getting your wall. Even Rand Paul made a joke about that on Twitter. So they wanted the wall. You're never going to get that wall. You just already gave a $1.5 trillion tax break to rich corporations. You think you have money to pay for a wall now? You just lost your base, buddy. You're toast. Your career is toast as a president. So you should resign. You should either resign, wait for impeachment, because 2018 is going to determine that. You're going to be impeached. If 2018 goes where Democrats take over the House, you're going to get impeached. You know you're going to get impeached. So things are good, guys. Have a good Christmas. Have a happy New Year. This is probably going to be my last show before the New Year. I might do one more depending on if something major breaks, but this is probably going to be it before the New Year. So have a great Christmas. Enjoy your family. Be happy. 2018, man, I'm telling you, this is where you can get your power back. We're going to get our power back in 2018. See, we hold all the cards now because everyone's going to be capitulating to us, trying to please us because they need to get reelected. So those that are running for reelection, they are owned by us. So it's time for us to make sure that they understand exactly what it is we want them to do after they get elected. So when 2019 comes around, we can start those impeachment proceedings. You understand what I'm saying? If the guy hasn't had enough shame yet to go ahead and resign. So have a good holiday. If I don't come back before then, also have a happy New Year. And let's get ready for 2018 because it's going to be fire.